gang, this is Clint, new post, take 2, 15 minutes for God. Tried one day or so ago and it crashed and burned, so we're going to start it over again and just jump into it very quickly. Just as a recap, where are we? We're in California, someplace called El Centro, about 100 miles east of San Diego. Enjoying all the crazy stuff around here. But at any rate, I want to jump into this post, and it's going to be, as usual, it's different. Not following my same trail, but this past week was my oldest son's birthday, so I was trying to send him some notes and things of congratulations on his birthday. And so I sent him. We didn't have Wi-Fi and all this stuff in different spots. We were in crazy places. As an example, yesterday we were at some place called Slab City. We saw a giant mountain called Salvation Mountain, but people were living off the grid. No power, no water, no nothing. It was really crazy stuff. And we saw something called the Salton Sea, which was so salty that dead fish were apparently all over the place. But at any rate, I mean, we were down in a hole, and it said we were 86 feet below sea level. And you could see the mountains going around there into the west, over toward where you get into the coastal area of California, which is still 100 miles away, but we were in a giant hole below sea level. So that was strange enough as it was. But anyway, we didn't have good service, so I'm going to try this one again. The first one crashed. We're going to try it and see what happens. As I said, it was my oldest son's birthday, so I ended up sending him this email. I'm going to read it and kind of paraphrase it some. And because when I got through sending it to him, God sent me a message. Now, don't get weird. It's God talks to us all the time. We just don't listen half the time. We're not thinking about it. And the message, he didn't come in and say, "Hey, I'm God, I'm going to talk to you." But he said, you hear it through the Spirit and stuff. And this Spirit that I heard said, this message that you had sent your son needs to be heard by everybody because it's important. And so put it out there. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to read through it. I got a copy of it here because I can't print the email. And anyway, we'll just get going and you'll get the gist of it. And it starts out, says, "Hey, today is your 40th birthday, and it's very significant. It's great," and I'll repeat that, 40th birthday. "It's a great time for you to thank God for all the blessings He's given you over 40 years. And then I flipped over on him and said, I've been reading lately in Deuteronomy, and I'm near the part where the Israelites were getting ready to finally enter the Promised Land. Now, my son's a Bible reader, and he's familiar with this, so some of the stuff I'll paraphrase was not necessarily in this email to him, but he's aware of it. And so it says, now think about it. They were getting ready to enter into the Promised Land. Now think about it. That was after 40 years of wandering in the desert. 40 years, another 40. Moses was 120 years old. That's 3 multiples of 40. But right before he gets there, he disobeys God and is told that he's not going to get to cross over and go into this great place. God says he will allow him to see it, but then he will die. Now, I bet Moses was pretty bummed out. After all his hard work, he thought he got screwed just because he hit a rock with a stick. We'll talk about that in a minute. I never could figure that one out. All the times I've read that multiple times, I mean, it was just, why did that happen? And didn't make sense to me till I was reading it this week. First thing is, God works in His timing, not our timing. God is in charge. God told him and Aaron, and this is how he got in trouble. God told him and Aaron, his brother, to command the rock to bring forth water for the people, not to hit it with a stick. And so they'd gotten to a point out in the desert where they were running out of water again. People were bitching and moaning, and then it said that's what he wanted them to do, is command the rock to bring water. That doesn't seem like much of a difference, but in God's eyes, it is. God is the power, not Moses or his stick, so he gets penalized. But maybe he didn't get penalized. Earlier, God had said that he would not destroy people again, even though their thoughts were always evil. Now, this was after the flood. He knew the people would be coming back, and the people just wouldn't do right. I believe Moses was one of the first remnant folks. Um, and that's beginning with a lot of the patriarchs that worked their way up. I'm not sure. I'm kind of leaning toward the fact that I think Adam made it in, but then you've got Noah and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph and all these guys that were leading up into the Jewish family, and you got Moses laying out here. And I think that he was one of the, when you talk about remnants, again, let's jump off a minute. You talk about remnants, I believe that only a small percentage of the millions and zillions of people that were ever on this earth are going to make it. And that's where the remnant comes in. You want to try to get that remnant as big as possible, but these guys were big dogs in that remnant, so I know they're going to be there. But anyway, you look at Moses, and he had conflict from the day he was born. They were in the Egyptian captivity. The Egyptians had gone from like 70 people from the first time they came over to where there was 1,000,000 of them. The Egyptians were afraid, hey, these guys are going to come jump us and take all our stuff. So their big plan was kill all the male babies. Well, that's what was happening. When Moses got born, his mom hid him, and her plan was that she made a little basket, put him in it, put up the Egyptian princess was out there taking a bath, and they have this little boat float down with a little baby in it. Well, what do all little girls do? And, hey, there's a baby, I want to play with it. Hey, yada, yada, yada. Well, Moses' sister runs over there and says, hey, well, you got this baby, but I know somebody that could nurse him. So she gets his mom to nurse him till he's able to eat regular food, but then he lives 40 years he spent in the Egyptian households away from his family. Well, then right after that, that's another 40. Then after that, he had to flee to Midian, where he lived for 40 years after he killed an Egyptian to protect an Israelite. One of the Egyptian guys was beating on the Israelite, so he killed him and thought he was okay, but he wasn't. And now he just ended 40 years of herding the complaining people through the desert as they turned from God with, among other things, the golden calf, the internal revolt with their own unbelief of the scouts at the first crossing over into what was the promised land, and their constant grumbling about manna tasting like bad pizza and not being able to have any Taco Bells. Now, I threw that on the end there. I don't think there were any Taco Bells there, but they were really yelling about manna, how horrible it was, and that was just free food for 40 years that they've been giving them. Walking in the desert. Well, he had done all of this stuff. Now, in my opinion, God didn't punish Moses. He saved him. Moses had been through enough in God's eyes. And God knew he would see even more. Let me switch pages here. After they crossed the Jordan, God loved Moses, and he could not bear to have him see how the people would turn out. So he allowed him to see the beautiful land from the highest point, so that Moses knew he had done his job, and then he allowed him to die so that he could come home to his father for eternal rest. I mean, from that, he let him go up to the highest peak and see the land, how good and wonderful it was, and he got the people. He had Joshua all set up to take him across the border, and he'd done what he was supposed to be doing. And so he wasn't mad at him, but he didn't want him to go through pain and suffering again. I mean, it's at one point after the 10 Commandments, he laid out 40 days and nights, begging God not to destroy the people. So, I mean, he'd done enough. And goes on here, God, in my notes, says, God likes these 40ths for some reason. Maybe one day he'll tell me why. But till then, they are a great time to stop, remember, and praise God for all the wonderful things he's done for us over 40 years. 40 years ago today, your mom and I received a wonderful gift from God. And he has continued to bless us over these years of our lives and with the additions of your brothers and sister. He has blessed you with a wife and son who should be the greatest things in your life. But a lot of times people forget about God when things are not going just the way they want it. They think God has forgotten or worse, abandoned them. Let me tell you, that's never the case. And that's the biggest problem, is that we forget who's in charge. We try to be in charge and run the show, and when it doesn't go exactly the way we like, then we can blame God. Well, that's wrong. God doesn't walk away. God's first gift to us is the gift of life, and He continues to give us gifts according to His timing all through our life. God never forgets us. We just forget who's in charge. On your first 40th, please remember God. Give Him all the praise. Thank Him for all He's done for you, beginning with life. Ask Him how you can serve Him, and most importantly, give Him the glory that He so richly deserves. God, and I love you, Dad. And that's, after having done that, that's when the Lord came to me and said, hey, your son's not the only one that needs to know this. You're not the only one that needs to know this. Every man needs to know this. Every person needs to know this, because they get so bent up on themselves that they can't figure out which way they're going and where they're going to end up. And if they don't go the right way that they think they need to go, they start hollering and blaming you. Just like all those people that Moses was herding for all those 40s. And I don't know what the relationship of all those 40s are, but it's like also in Noah and the flood. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. I mean, it's just something's important in there, but we'll figure that out sooner or later. But at any rate, that's what you need to be thinking about, is that God's with us all the time. He doesn't leave us. He doesn't forget about us. We just have to be waiting on Him and working with Him and giving Him the praise. Now I'd like to go into prayer. If you see any things going on in the background, it's my son getting ready to go take a shower, because we're here in the middle of the camper still. Ladies are over there doing theirs, and we're all going to be heading out. But anyway, let's go talk to God. Father, thank you for everything you give us. Thank you for your timing. It's always perfect. Ours never is. Let us remember that. Let us not forget that we should be with you every moment, every day, and give you the praise. I have some prayer requests. I think it's the reason that thing blasted out on me the other day. Got two friends in the hospital. One had rotator cuff surgery, and hopefully he's doing okay, but he still needs to have our prayers. But then his son had an incident while he was in the hospital and passed out for some reason, and he's in the hospital. So please watch over him and take care of him and get him out of there safely too. His mama had called, and we would like to make sure that she gets a blessing from you. I've got two of Vic's aunts that are having rough times with falls. Pray for them. I think one actually is moved into hospice now. She's in her 90s, and just help her ease into your home. She's a Christian. I know that's where she'll be going. Make it easy for her. And one of her sisters fell and hurt herself moving, and I'm not exactly sure what status she's in right now, but I think she's going to get better. But just make it quick and painless as possible. I'll watch over my two aunts that are, one in Missouri, they're 80s and 90s, and one in Jacksonville. Take care of them. Keep your eyes on them. Also the one in Jacksonville, I've got I think he's third or maybe fourth cousin. He's about 5, and he's smart as a whip, and he knows about God. And he saw a post where he said that Jacksonville was a jungle. It was all the jackals that were there. And just bless him and bring him up in your way and take care of him. Keep him safe in that jungle he's living in. His parents and his sister and his grandma. And just watch over him. My son, who's turned 40, him and his wife still have major medical issues. Just put some angel on top of that and let them just work it and help them get better, please. I would appreciate that. And keep us safe in our travels here. We're all kind of banged up a little bit from different things, but if you can help us improve in those areas, you know what they are. Appreciate it. Just let us get home safe and enjoy our trip. And if there's any other unknown, unannounced prayer requests out there, just take care of them for the folks that haven't mentioned them, because you know what they are. Watch over my cousin Kevin. He's a preacher. He's a good man. Take care of him, lead him in the right direction, help him help others. And I just thank you for all the wonderful things you've given us. I just want to give you all the praise and all the glory. We ask everything in your name. Thank you, Father. Amen. Okay, guys, that's a quick one. Looks like this one took. We'll see as soon as my daughter gets back and gets a chance to post it up. Again, comments, concerns, questions, please send them to me. The goofy thing is that the 15minuteforgod.com website is still not working. We're doing what we can to fix that, but it hadn't happened yet. So if you want to see this stuff, you have to go to Clint Drane YouTube, and then it'll bring up the 15 Minute for God, and you can see it there. And prayer requests, if you have those, send them in. I mean, we won't mention names unless you tell us to, because God knows who's out there. He'll take care of it. But we certainly want to see comments and what have you. If I'm doing this wrong, tell me. I'll try to change it. Do whatever it takes to fix it. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, that's even better. There's nothing being done here for any kind of monetary gain. It's just to get it out there. If you tell your friends, let them hear it. People need to hear this stuff because the time is short. And I appreciate all the help I can get. Thank you, guys. Until next time, we'll see you out on the road.